Scary.
An open Tony Jenkins, he's got room. Gets all the way to the 11-yard line.
Well, on that play, Calvillo looked to the left and pumped as if he was going to throw down the sideline and threw back the other way. Chris Rouser, number 17, tipped the ball, but it was great concentration on the part of Jenkins to hold on to it, and that's a big gainer. That's the first pass completion for the Aggies in this game. There's Calvillo looking left, throwing this way, and the catch after it was tipped. Nice play by Tony Jenkins, and he even adds yards with a nice run.
Takes a lot of concentration to be able to do that. Kendrick Huey again in the backfield. Huey up the middle. And just plunges himself in for a gain of about 2 yards before he's brought down by the linemen Tom Wade and Tim Melendez.
Aggies running the plays in and out, of course, as they've done all year with Alexander and Jenkins, and Sean Turner's been in there a little bit as well as the receivers shoveling it out.
Well, the Aggies are in the blue zone. 11 yards into it. They're on the 9-yard line. Second down, 8 yards to go. The fake to Huey. Calvillo looking, finding Tony Jenkins, and Tony Jenkins drops the ball. Incomplete pass.
Calvillo made the play-action fake, and then there you see Aubrey Thompson. He, in fact, was the intended receiver, but he couldn't hold on to it. The Aggies are 12 of 12 the last 3 games in what they call the blue zone. They've converted with some score or another, a field goal and many times a touchdown these last 3 games, and that is an improvement over earlier in the year when they were getting a lot of field goals. Now they're adding touchdowns when they get close to the goal line.
13 of their 22 trips inside the blue zone. Of their 22 successful trips have ended up in touchdowns. Third down, 8 yards to go. Calvillo looking, rolling out of the pocket and throws it out of the end zone.
Well, on third down, credit goes to the coverage provided by New Mexico State, because there wasn't a real heavy rush involved in that one, and that'll force Morreale onto the field with an opportunity now to tie a school record if he converts on this, which would be his 18th field goal of the year.
One of the other records that we have been talking about. He's had 17 thus far on the year. This would be a 26-yard attempt. He's 7 for 8 from that range. And the kick is up and good.
26-yard field goal is good by Nathan.
And so that ties the Utah State record that we had mentioned. And with 8 minutes, 50 seconds left in the first quarter, Utah State scores at first. We'll be back in a moment right after this.
If you have trouble getting to sleep, this is not your solution.
The second quarter, Utah State in prime position here. Third down, 1 yard to go. Ball's on the 3-yard line. Profil Greer, the single setback for Utah State. Mexico State with a 6-man front. Greer might have gotten that yard. We'll have to see where the knee went down.
On that play, the Aggie center, Warren Bowers, just took the nose tackle, Tim Melendez, right to the ground. Problem was, I think it was Greer tripping over the both of them. Let's see what happens as he takes the handoff. There he runs off of Bowers' leg, and that's exactly what happened. But he fell forward and got what he needed. No, he didn't, did he?
He did not. He fell about half a yard shy, and this brings on the field goal unit. This has to be a boost for the New Mexico State defense as Nate Morreale comes out to attempt a field goal. Now, this will be his first from this close. From the 3, well, that would put it at about the 20-yard line. And the kick, little chip shot. It's up and good. Pulled out the pitching wedge for that one. Utah State jumps out to lead 6-0. Now, this is the same thing that happened last year against New Mexico State. They scored 24 points in the second quarter to really take command of this game. Utah State up 6-0. We're just into the second quarter. Back in a moment right after this. State with a second field goal as Nate Morreale now has broken the record for most field goals in a season. That was his 19th of this year, and Micah Noor is set to kick it off for Utah State. 14 minutes, 23 seconds left in this first half. Again, they avoid the dangerous return men. That again also is number 24, Steve Miller. Found a little opening, got it out to the 35-yard line.
We saw that graphic a moment ago about the time of possession in the first quarter. As we had expected, it was really lopsided for Utah State, and so were the first quarter totals. 135 yards of total offense for the Aggies. Only 24 for New Mexico State, and Ledbetter has yet to complete a pass against Utah State as they get the ball for the third time in the game. There's the Aggie scoring drive, but again, don't get the key thing. They don't get the touchdown.
First down, 10 yards to go. Looks like New Mexico State will line up with two running backs. That's Brian Pazula and Troy Dublin, the fullback. The fake to Pazula, and up the middle and finding a man open. That's number 28, Kenny Kennedy. Brought down by two Aggie defenders, Travis Scow and Ephraim Haymore. Big game for the New Mexico State offense.
Well, that time the Aggies basically vacated the short middle when Younger was blitzing. And even though the play action razzmatazz that you see Ledbetter there trying to do took a little time, he still had time to get the pass off, and Kennedy's on his way. That's a big gain, a nice way to celebrate your first completion of the day.
Yeah, and that's only his fifth completion of the year. Previously, his long reception had been 12 yards. Takes the Aggies of New Mexico, and there's the reverse. Again to Kennedy. And he gets tripped up there at the last moment, and he's only had one run before this game, before that run that you saw, and that was a 25-yard touchdown. So when he touches the ball, things seem to happen. Michael Coe finally put the stop on him.
Well, he's the guy that they want to have the ball in his hands, as the Aggies like to have the ball in the hands of Mike Lee. There you see Ledbetter, only one completion, but it counts for lots of yards.
That's a big one. Nice average. Ledbetter rolling out, got some room. One man between him and the end zone, and he scores. Cody Ledbetter. That is his fifth touchdown of this season. And it ties the game at 6-6 with the PAT still to go.
Well, I don't think Ledbetter's supposed to be able to run that way with the knee brace on his left knee and cartilage floating around in there, but it doesn't seem to bother him. Boy, he completed a nice pass and then the touchdown right there, and all of a sudden this is an even game, and they'll be leading with a kick.
Well, I want to get a couple of braces like that put on my knee. Bubba Kuhlen, perfect on the year and points after touchdown, 26 for 26, and makes it a 27 for 27 as New Mexico State takes the lead 7-6 here with 13 minutes and 9 seconds left in the first half. In this, what many are calling the Big West Championship game. We'll be back in a moment right after this.
How long was the pass? There's another look at Ledbetter's touchdown run. It looks like option football here with him just keeping it and getting into the end zone.
And there's the kickoff. James Dye takes it at his own goal line, heads straight ahead, full steam, has a hold, had to dodge one of his own blockers, and the official is marking him out of bounds at the 41-yard line. A very nice return for James Dye.
Dye at about the 30 yards had to step aside. He would have run into Jack Rojas, who's on the trip wearing number 43 and is on all the special teams, but he avoided that. You'll see it here now as he gets through the first wave of people. There's Rojas like a bullfighter dodging him, and Dye steps out of bounds, but a very nice return out past the 40.
There's those hidden yards that come from special teams as Utah State takes over on its 41-yard line, 1st and 10. Calvillo to give to Greer. Not much room. Loses about a yard on that play. Samuel Manuel with the stop for New Mexico State.
This is the guy, number 40, who made that tackle, who is second on the team in tackles for loss. He's always listed as Brian Duplessis is a backup at outside linebacker, but he plays a lot, and he's a very active linebacker, and he showed it. There's a scoring drive that has given New Mexico State the lead.
And that big play, Kenny Kennedy. Utah State down by 1. Second down, 11 yards to go. The fake to Greer. Calvillo looking deep up the middle to Tony Jenkins. Just overthrows the outstretched arms. David Barella with coverage for New Mexico State.
Well, that's 10 pass attempts for Anthony. He's 4 for 10, and again, not typical Calvillo numbers in his final regular season game as an Aggie.
Brings up 3rd down and 11. And after a nice run back like that, you hate to see a drive go 3 and out.
Well, the Aggies don't want to get into 3 and outs too much with this team and give them confidence to keep them in the game.
Big third down play here. 43% on the year in third down conversions as Calvillo is looking to improve on those numbers. Flushed out of the pocket, and he's got some room. Could get to the first down, and looks like he put the knee down about a yard shy. He could have gotten possibly a couple of more yards. Mike Wall and Bo LeBreton with a stop.
I'm not sure he was really aware, and he's really mad at himself there now as you see him walking off the field. I don't think he was aware where he needed to be. He needs a full 2 more yards for the first down, and the Aggies are going to bring in Micah Noor.
Here's a look at that again. You can see the first down marker is going to be just on the other side of the 50, and Calvillo put the knee down a little early. So into punt is Micah Noor for Utah State. And this time we should get our first look at Poley Banks to return this. He's 16th in the country in punt returns. Very, very dangerous. He takes it and is hit immediately. And there's a flag. It could be that they might not have given him enough space to catch the ball.
But they're going to say Michael Coe, in fact, did not. He was too close at the point when Banks made the catch. I didn't see any fair catch signal, so I don't think that's the problem.
Boy, that was a very gutty move there, not to call for the fair catch.
Ooh, yep, he was hit just soon after he caught the ball.
Official there going to give us what the official penalty is, but looks to be that New Mexico State will end up with a little bit better field position.
5-yard penalty assist against Utah.
Interference with the opportunity. Defender was in the 5-yard belt. First down.
That again is the lead official, the referee Bill Athan, describing the fact that Coe was just too close to Banks when he made the catch. But it's only a 5-yard penalty.
Takes the ball out to the 12-yard line. And there's the little trickery in the backfield. Works for about 3 yards. Troy Dublin up the middle. The Dublin, and then it was a fake Pazula immediately after handing the ball off.
Danielle Taplin, number 96, was the guy that just stayed right there when all that was going on and made the stop after the game from the 11 to about the 15.
Second down, 7 yards to go. Pazula and Dublin also in the backfield again. Ledbetter gives to the ladder, Dublin, and he works his way for some more yardage, breaks some tackles, and it's a foot race. Dublin just brought down by number 40, Travis Scow, at the 38-yard line. Big gain for Dublin.
Well, that's one of those plays, Carlton, where the Aggies, when they look at the video, really aren't going to be happy with themselves. The tackling was not very good. On about the second or third chance that one of the Aggies had to bring Dublin down, it was Younger. Let's see if we can see it as he dodges Gills there. And then there's Germain. He thought he had him, but he spins off and heads to the outside, and it's a nice gainer before finally Scow brings him down.
Speed and quickness there of Dublin. He runs a 4.5 40. He's cut out of the same mold as Profel Greer and James Dyer, about 5'9", 190 yards. Ledbetter back and looking deep up the middle, has a man wide open. Number 12, Lucius Davis, working his way through traffic, gets to about the 24-yard line before he's brought down. That's our first look at him, and he is their leading receiver, a dangerous man. Has 717 yards receiving coming into this game.
Well, that's 2 long passes already today against the Aggies. Davis is not listed among the leaders in the league because they don't have enough catches. But, boy, he looks nice on that one. As you can see some linebackers back in coverage, both Gill and Younger. And finally, the stop was made. The Aggies, by the way, are going now at cornerback with Haymore and Damon Smith. Donald Toomer is not here today. He was sick and had the flu and had to stay home.
First and 10, balls at the 29-yard line. Ledbetter rolling out to his right side, has a little bit of room, and one man to beat again. Gets to the 4-yard line. Another first down as the Aggies of New Mexico are driving the ball on the Aggies of Utah State. First and goal. Ball's at the 4-yard line.
Can't believe how nifty Ledbetter is with encumbrance. Boy, he's looking good.
Kind of makes you wonder if we were victims of disinformation coming into this game.
Well, again, this is an option-type look, but he's keeping it all the way, and they're getting big chunks of yardage following option up after the passes he's completed.
Ledbetter came into this program known for his scrambling ability, but he has been hobbled by those injuries and kind of became a passer. So maybe we're seeing the old Ledbetter as you see Dublin spins around and gets maybe a yard or so. Jermaine Younger in on the stop along with Danielle Taplin.
Stop by David Gill and Daniel Taplin.
We'll see it again here. Now, Younger's the first guy to get there, but actually Dublin gets away from him. Younger kind of slows him down, and then Gill comes along and Taplin and make the stop.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Second and goal. Ledbetter again keeps it and plunges his way. He gets about the 1 foot line. There's a flag on the play. And the initial call is for holding against New Mexico State. That certainly hurts their drive a bit.
Tyrone Trimble, number 18, and Jermaine Younger, number 51, are credited with a stop on this play, but that option is really hurting him. I guess a holding call will bring this play back.
Yeah, Ledbetter is not showing any fear on that knee. As Utah State is finding themselves up against the wall here again for the second straight drive.
In the meantime, Ledbetter getting a lot of mileage out of his completions. He's now 2 of 5. He's hit his last 2 passes for 48 and 38 yards.
Ledbetter with Pazula in the backfield with him. Ledbetter fires up the middle and has a man open. That's Lucius Davis again for his 8th touchdown of the season. Lucius Davis quiet in the first quarter, but has had 2 key plays on this drive to give New Mexico State a bigger lead.
Well, the Aggies had Tyrone Trimble coming off the corner. We may see this number 18, and he almost gets to Ledbetter. But in the meantime, the Aggies are in man-for-man coverage, and Ledbetter burns him on this one, as Scal couldn't cover adequately, and now it's 13-6.
Tim Snowden, the holder for Bubba Kulan. Tim Snowden is a birthday boy today. Turns 21, and Bubba Kulan hits his 28th PAT in a row this season. We'll take a break with 8 minutes, 24 seconds left here in the first half as New Mexico State jumps out to a lead 14-6. You're watching Aggie football on KJAZ 14. The kick is high and sails out of bounds where the penalty flag will be thrown.
And when these situations happen, the Aggies usually put the ball in the play at the 35-yard line. There's the scoring drive, and well, I believe the story here today is Ledbetter's play. The passes haven't been...
Ball at their own 35.
Free kick out of bounds.
Kickoff.
Receivers take the option at the 35-yard line. First down.
Aggies choose to put it into play at the 35, but Ledbetter's running really is the story. He hasn't passed real effectively except for 2 straight completion. Now 3 for the touchdown, and Aggies have got to get fired up here on offense.
First and 10. Greer working his way around and cuts back to the middle. Nice effort by Profel Greer to get about 7 yards on that play, tackled by Bo LeBreton and Tim Melendez. Profel Greer kept those feet moving and churning, turned it into a nice 7-yard gain.
Aggies have just gone over 100 yards rushing today. Again, over 300 last year against New Mexico State. This play started to the right. He cuts back toward the middle of the field to pick up the 7 yards or 8 yards that he gained on the play.
Second down, 2 yards to go. To give again to Greer, and he's met behind the line of scrimmage. Mike Wall was there to say howdy do. About a loss of 1 or maybe 2 on that play. Mike Wall, 6 feet, 230 pounds.
Guy that made the stop on that one was number 97, along with Wall. Number 97, Dean LaChapelle. He'll come into the picture in just a minute. There he is. He's a guy who's 26 years old. His brother was the great running back, or the wide receiver at UCLA, Sean LaChapelle, who was drafted by the Rams. And now he's a junior here at New Mexico State trying to get a degree and start a new life.
Just taking about 7 minutes left in this first half. Calvillo looks and finds Aubrey Thompson. He skips out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. He was trying to keep his balance and get to the first down marker. It looks like he might be half a yard shy. Well, no, now they're giving it to him. It is marked across the marker. Some of the fans here are not too thrilled with that call. Take a look at it again here.
Calvillo looking to the sideline. He'll complete it to his tight end, Aubrey, who comes in with 47 catches there. He stepped out of bounds on that initial thrust to try to get his balance and hit upfield. By the way, his 47 catches coming into the game is a record for a tight end at Utah State.
You mentioned Dean LaChapelle. He is the only member of this New Mexico State team that was alive the last time New Mexico State beat Utah State, and that kind of makes me feel old, and I don't usually do that when I hang around Utah. Coffell Greer squirts ahead and gets another 9-yard gain into Aggie territory. New Mexico State Aggie territory. Gets to the 46-yard line, brought down by Tim Mock.
You know, this game started as if it looked almost too easy for the Aggie offensive line, and then I'd say the last drive or two, New Mexico State held their own on the line of scrimmage, and I don't know that it ought to be that way. I think this veteran offensive line for Utah State should and probably by the time the game ends will be winning those battles most of the time.
Second down, 1 yard to go.
You're ready for time, guys.
Calvillo fakes the ball and throws up the middle. Overthrows Mike Lee again. Melendez with coverage on Lee. He faked to Kendrick Huey to start that play. And the last time New Mexico State won was 10-9. That was back in 1967. Dean LaChapelle was almost 2 months old.
Well, and Jim Hess was an assistant coach at Rice University.
And I was around. I remember where I was. I'll never forget it. Third down, 1 yard to go. Ball still at the 46-yard line. That's Huey in the backfield. And they give to Huey, and he gets the first down. Gets to about the 41-yard line. Knocked down by Mock and Tony Gray. Sporting News says something interesting about Tim Mock. Says he fills more holes than spackles.
Here's Huey, who started the game and ran well on that first series that resulted in one of the 2 field goals.
Got an update now with 11 minutes, 19 seconds left in the game in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Nevada 14, Arkansas State 17.
Oh, boy.
Get on to the wire on that one. Calvillo looking, had a man open, but Tim Melendez comes up with his first sack of the season. And that's about an 8-yard loss for Utah State.
Calvillo went to try to dodge an oncoming New Mexico State player and lost his footing here. Nice play action fake, actually bought himself some time, and then he slipped right there. This field was spray painted before the game. It's actually probably quite yellow, but they spray painted it green, so it's hard to tell exactly what condition it's really in.
I was watching some of the players in the pregame. A lot of them were slipping as they were just kind of getting the warm-ups out of the way. Calvillo looking, has plenty of time, and it looks like he's going to take it himself up the middle. Gets tripped up, gets back to about the 44-yard line. Bola Brayton knocks him down.
Well, David Barella and Walton, Cedric Walton, Donald Stowers, some of these guys are really providing some coverage because Calvillo, who's really good at picking out his receivers, can't find anybody, and he has to run again, which he did quite a bit last year, and he's doing that again this season. But the Aggies are quite a ways away from the first down. They've got to get to about the 32-yard line, and they're out past the 40.
Kendrick Huey in the backfield. And he is in motion to the bottom of your screen. Calvillo checks him first and then looks up top. Up the middle and incomplete again, aiming for Mike Lee. Bill Bean with a stop. With the coverage there for New Mexico State. And the Aggie fans here in New Mexico are into this. Cheering their team on. This is nice to see. Last week there was not a large crowd here, and there was concern as to how many people would show up today. But they have come out and are being very noisy in favor of their team as they have an opportunity to win the Big West title with this game.
Calvillo leaves the field a little frustrated now. He's only 5 of 13 passing in this first half.
And there's the punt for Moriali. Pulley Banks calls for a fair catch, and he lets it bounce behind him, and the Aggies will down it on about the 7-yard line. That's Damon Smith, who finally puts the hand on the ball.
Actually, the first guy downfield, this is kind of impressive, was the guy that snapped the ball, Greg Thompson.
Back in a moment right after this. We've just got a little bit over 4 minutes left in this first half. Had control of that, but Troy Dublin.
Well, I don't think it ever got to Dublin. It looked like it hit him in the hip, and he's the one that was aware. Nobody else quite knew immediately, and he jumped on it quickly. Actually, it nets out, maybe if not a gain, at least back to the same line of scrimmage.
Troy Dublin is out. Brian Pizzula back in the backfield for New Mexico State. Ledbetter looks and fires behind the receiver. Somebody missed an assignment. He was aiming for Kennedy. Kennedy was on his way down the field.
Again, the Aggies were blitzing with Coe coming from the left and Trimble from the right, leaving everybody else in man-for-man coverage, and it hurried the throw, and you saw what happened.
Brings up a third down play, a big play for Utah State. It'd be nice for them to have a 3-and-out from their vantage point. New Mexico State, 40% third down conversions on the year. We've got Pizzula and Dublin in the backfield for New Mexico State. Ledbetter looks like he's going to keep it himself. Utah State springs him out. He's looking for someone to lateral to, as he's just a few yards shy of the first down marker. Ephraim Kamor and Travis Scow in on the stop.
Boy, at the front end of that play, number 18, Tyrone Trimble, was in perfect position to make the stop on Ledbetter, who looks less and less like a guy with a bad knee as this game goes along. There he dodges Trimble right there, you see him, and cuts to the outside, but he didn't get enough for what they needed, and he's going to have it punted away here.
We toyed with the idea of lateraling that. You certainly don't want to lose one of those that deep in your own territory. Brings up a punting situation as we've got 4th and 2. Tony Jenkins deep for Utah State. Chad Zecca in the punt for New Mexico State. There's a kick that's very, very high and very, very short. It hits at about the 39-yard line and takes a very favorable New Mexico State roll. The Aggies will take over on their own 49-yard line with 2 minutes, 26 seconds left in this first half. Plenty of time for Calvillo and company to move down the field, and I'm sure they would like to do so as they head into the locker room.
That's one of the few times we've seen Tracy Jenkins back on punt returns. Well, he's been back before, but he has 3 this season coming into this game, a couple against UNLV, and then they won for 8 yards last week against Louisiana Tech. Again, James Dye probably bothered with that bad toe.
McMahon, Jenkins, and Lee are the 3 wideouts, and the give is to Greer up the middle. He gets about 3 yards before all is said and done. Wade and Bean on the stop for New Mexico State. 2 minutes, 15 seconds and counting left in the first half.
Utah State's big left guard, Rich Tilsky, who led the way on that play. A little slow getting up. Let's see the handoff here. And Greer trying to come off the block of Jason Mott and Tilsky. Looks like Greer fell right on top of number 76 at the end of the play.
Second down, 7 yards to go. Aggies back in Aggie territory. That's Utah State and New Mexico State. Greer looking for a little bit of running room. Runs into his own blocker. Gets about the 41-yard line. Could be about a foot shy of the first down. Jed DeVries was the man that Greer ran into. Bean and LaChapelle on the stop.
Well, I think that's what happened. It looks like the Aggie running back is beating up his own lineman. And there's these collisions at the end of these plays.
And it looks like that's Profel Greer on the ground. It looks like he's in some pain. Right on the near side of the sidelines to us.
An
Right in
official
front of the Utah
timeout.
State bench.
The Best Western Mesilla Valley Inn, home of Eddie's Bar and Grill, invites all Aggie fans
look at
to
the
dinner
monitors
following the
for our
game.
best
The Mesilla Valley Inn.
Our best
supporting
viewpoint is they're
NMSU
bringing in
athletics.
the sideline markers to see if it is a first down or not. Kendrick Huey, meanwhile, trots onto the field to replace Profel Greer.
Utah State's training crew out there, led by Dale Mildenberger. That's Dale kneeling to the left there with the baseball cap on. And Profel's having a little bit of trouble right now. This is right in front of the Utah State sideline.
Take a look at that play again, see if we can find out what happened.
Well, it was DeVries trying to create an opening. There's number 75, and then Greer goes down right at the end of that one. Still not quite enough for the first down. The ball is at about the New Mexico State 41.
Could be looking at his ribs. There was a lot of confusion through there. Coming up next Saturday, we want to remind you that we will be carrying live the Louisville and Kentucky NCAA basketball game, and that will be immediately preceded by our college basketball preview. We'll take a look at the teams all up and down the Wasatch Front and in Utah. And the NCAA basketball season is about to tip off November 27th at 1 p.m. here on KJAZ 14.
Well, I think you called it right. There's Trofeo, 66 yards running. He's had those rib guards on the last several games. He's had some real problems with his ribs. I think that's the situation again.
Calvillo keeps it. Looks like he's got first down yardage as he gets across the 40-yard line.
For the first down.
Melendez was amongst a group of New Mexico State Aggies there to stop him, but we've got 1 minute, 23 seconds left in this first half. Utah State gets the key first down. Let's take a look again.
Well, the Aggies have been successful every time they've done that today. They've needed short yardage on third or fourth down.
Kendra Curie backs in the backfield. Mike Lee, Sean Turner at the bottom of your screen. The give is to Huey. And he gets strung out, a gain of maybe a yard or so. Tim Mock in hot pursuit.
You may have seen number 75, Jed DeVries, the right tackle. He was tied up with Tom Wade, is pushing him all the way to the outside. Let's see if we can see it as Huey takes the handoff. There he is, and goes. Huey runs right past that group of people, but again, Mock's giving chase. And the sideline is the friend of the defensive player, and Mock uses it in this case to just hem Huey in and shove him out of bounds.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Clock is stopped at 1:04 left in this first half. Trips to the left side. You see Mike Lee and Tony Jenkins, and that's Kendra Curie motioning up to the top of your screen. Calvillo looks and finds Huey at about the 31-yard line. Manuel on the stop for New Mexico State. Clock is still ticking, 52-51.
The stop by Samuel Manuel.
The Aggies hurrying and trying to get through the line of scrimmage. 44 seconds left.
From the 31.
Calvillo on a side route, and he does not get out of bounds. Chris Rouser with a big hit on Mike Lee. He will get the first down, and they will stop the clock while they rotate the chains. Aggies already ready for their next play. We've got 35 seconds left in this first half. Calvillo barking orders to Tony Jenkins, who you see his helmet on your screen there at the bottom. And at the top of your screen is Mike Lee and Cody McMahon. Kendra Curie in the backfield. Calvillo looking deep, aiming for the end zone. It will go beyond the end zone, and Mike Lee hit the goalpost.
Thank goodness it was padded. I think he's all right, but he went full bore right into that goalpost. He didn't see it coming. The play was obviously overthrown because Calvillo can't find anybody that's not covered.
Calvillo threw a field goal on that one, it looked like.
Watch Lee running right into the post there. The ball sails over his head. He'd have had a problem if that thing hadn't had a big several inches of padding around it.
Well, brings up second down. There's still 10 yards to go. There's
at LSU, they really need this now, trailing 14-6.
Three receivers to the left side. Kendra Curie in the backfield. Calvillo looking, firing, and overthrows Mike Lee and almost intercepted. That was Cedric Walton. Nearly with his second interception of the year.
Well, Anthony has been fairly consistently high with his throws today. Every one of them, he's now 7 of 17. He has sailed a lot of his recent passes. He's only hit 2 of about his last 6 or 7 passes.
Sometimes in baseball, when a pitcher is overdoing it, it fails to get on top of the ball, and that causes that ball to sail. And that might be what's happening to Calvillo a little bit. So the tensions are high a little bit as they want to try to secure a Big West championship. The give is to Huey up the middle. He's got some room, and he gets right up to where the first down marker is. Mock and Wall with a stop. There's 9 seconds left in this first half. The officials will probably stop to mark or to check the measurement on this. He gets right to the 19-yard line, which is where the marker is.
Here's the handoff again, and with New Mexico State in a pass defense mode, Huey had a lot of room. Mock finally did stop him, number 55. Apparently somebody's called timeout. I thought they were going to bring the chains in, and now they are, I guess.
Timeout. Charge Utah State.
Utah State is taking the break. New Mexico State strolls over the sideline. Take a look at the play and see if we can tell how far he needs to get. The marker is just right on the 19-yard line. We won't be able to see it too well from that angle, but it was a nice run. I'm sure Aggies, the New Mexico State Aggies, were expecting a pass. And Moriali looks like he's trotting on the field. They're going to try to get the field goal, which would make it a 5-point margin going into halftime. 1 week from tonight, don't miss live coverage of Utah Jazz basketball as they head south to take on the Suns in Phoenix. Steve Brown hosts the pregame show at 6:30 with a tip.
Opportunity here.
Todd Wilson holding for Moriali. 9 seconds remain in this first half. This attempt will be a 36-yarder. Moriali 7 for 9 from this distance. It's up, and it doesn't look like it has the distance or the direction. And it's no good.
Well, he knew it right away, too. As soon as he put his foot into it, he was disgusted.
We got an Aggie that's down on the field. We can't see the number quite yet. Oh, it's Jason Mon. Jason Mon, number 57. He's the starting offensive tackle. 6'4", 278-pound senior. Let's see if we can see what happens here.
Here's Moriali's kick, and look at him. Immediately he knew it was not good.
Mon still down, played his high school ball at Mountain Crest High School. He also played on the Utah State basketball team in 89 and 90.
He spent a little bit of time on the team that year, as in the preseason particularly, and then decided that wasn't for him and wanted to concentrate the rest of his career on football, and it's been a very good result. Hate to see him have to go off the field like this right now, however.
Left knee, possibly. Well, there are 4 seconds left in this first half. New Mexico State holding on to an 8-point lead. They have the ball on their own 20-yard line, following the missed field goal from Nathan Moriali. Troy Dublin, the fullback from New Mexico State, kind of surprised they're going to do a play here. But Ledbetter is, and he's going to look deep and fire deep. And no one is close. David Osborne was probably the intended receiver. As the first half comes to a close, you hear the New Mexico State Aggie fans voicing their approval as New Mexico State leads it 14-6. We're at halftime in Las Cruces. Second half kickoff.
Now we've got a final just handed us. Arkansas State wins this game, we're told, 23-21 over Nevada.
What an amazing, amazing game.
So the first half of the scenario is complete now. Nevada has lost. Utah State wins the game.
They are in.
That's it.
They are in. Let's see, something else is being handed. This is very, very fast and furious here. But yeah, that is a very, very big win. And I wonder now, if you are Coach Weatherby trying to motivate this squad, do you tell your team that Nevada has lost already?
I would tell them, because they're playing for the trip to the bowl game. Why shouldn't they know that, for heaven's sakes? They were going to put a ring on their finger if they won the game today, but they weren't guaranteed of anything beyond that. Now they know that a victory here, and they're trailing 14-6, takes them to Las Vegas December 17th. In fact, it takes them there a week in advance for all the celebrations.
That's true. There's the kickoff from Micah Knorr. Again, trying to elude Foley Banks. The New Mexico State Aggies are getting excellent field position because of this. That's getting them out there at the 36-yard line now. It looks like they might have some extracurricular activity on the sidelines over there.
You're right. They are getting good field position, but they're not getting 73-yard touchdown returns, which Foley Banks has been known to do. So the Aggies are making a trade-off here.
He has returned one kick already for 99 yards, a touchdown. He returned a punt for, I think, about 72 yards as well. Foley Banks is very, very dangerous, and like I said before, if you remember Eddie Kinnison at LSU and the damage that he did to Utah State in that game, then you know of what I speak. First down, 10 yards to go. Ball's on the 37-yard line. That's Ledbetter rolling to his right, fakes the pass, and comes down with about a 1-yard gain, brought down by Scott Moala.
Aggies were sending just the 4-down linemen. They're dropping off in pass coverage with all those DBs, and Coe and Trimble and all of them. Here we see Ledbetter out from under center being chased by David Balls all the way, who may come into the picture here behind, trailing. Ledbetter's never, it looked to me like he had any plans of throwing that thing, and Scott Moala picks it on the screen, number 99 made a stop.
And we're up second down, 9 yards to go. Aggies should feel a little fire, the Utah State Aggies at least. Both teams now know, no matter what happens, the winner goes. Brian Pazula around the left side, brought down by Jermaine Younger and Ephraim Haymore.
Again, Pazula is not the featured guy in this running attack because that belongs to Troy Dublin, number 6, but he's not a bad runner. That puts them over 100 yards rushing, which is the first opponent in the last 4 weekends to do that against Utah State. Pazula at the end of the run there.
There you see Pazula and Dublin. Dublin lining up in the tailback position. Third down. They go to the weak side. Ledbetter almost brought down, and then is brought down by Jermaine Younger. Pratt Lyons was in there first, and then Jermaine Younger came in with a punishing blow to bring up about a 2-yard loss, which brings up a 4th down play for New Mexico State.
This is the way the Aggie defense came out in the second half of the last couple of weekends, really at home. Boy, that was a crushing blow by Younger there. And then really couldn't put anybody away. That's what they're looking for now. They've got to get a lead first before you put anybody away, but they've got a little bit of a task ahead of them. Looks like they're bringing a lot of people, probably 8 or 9, on this punt here.
The snap was low. Tony Jenkins back deep, calls for the fair catch, and does so at the 20-yard line. It's just across the 20, where the Aggies will take over. They need to make up an 8-point deficit here in this second half. And we'll take a break with 12 minutes, 43 seconds left in this third quarter. Back in a moment, right after this. Bringing you Aggie football on KJS 14. Aggies in prime position now. Nevada has lost. The Aggies of Utah State can win it with a win here. That's the give to Huey. Gets about 5 yards on that play. Wall and Mock in on the stop for New Mexico State.
Yeah, I'm interested to see when the Aggies eventually start throwing the ball again, how sharp Anthony is able to be after the first half, which was, as we've probably emphasized already, very uncharacteristic of Calvillo. 7 of 17 for 57 yards and 1 pass intercepted.
Profile Greer is on the sidelines getting his ribcage protectors adjusted. Kendrick Huey with the run, changes directions, gets about 4 yards on that play, brings up a 3rd down, 1 yard to go. Ball's at about the 30-yard line. He's dropped by Cedric Walton and also Mike Wall.
3rd and 1.
By the way, Jason Bond is on the field in the game. They told us that his knee was injured, but apparently not to the extent that he can't take the field. There's the play again as Huey starts to the right and cuts back.
Huey again up the middle, and this time he gets the 1st down yardage.
By Kendrick
Bo
Huey
LeBreton,
for the 1st down.
first man there for New Mexico State, but not until Huey was able to get the 1st down for Utah State.
That time Tilsky again slow getting up. Rich is taking a battering here in his final regular season game at Utah State.
Ball at the 32.5.
1st and 10. Ball's at the 32-yard line. The fake to Huey. Calvillo looking downfield for Aubrey Thompson. Finds him. No. And the official falls down with his emphatic display of showing that Aubrey was out of bounds. Looks to be okay. Moving that knee around a little bit, but Aubrey did make the catch, but it was beyond the sidelines. Let's take a look at that again.
That was Mark Ratner, the official, right on top of the play. And here's Aubrey to the sideline. This is the New Mexico State bench. It's hard to tell where that stripe is, but the official is, like you said, emphatic in his call that no way was Aubrey in bounds.
Brings up second down, 10 yards to go. And the draw play to Huey. Huey gets about 3 or 4 yards on that play, knocked down by Steve Gilbert. Now, we have gotten a little bit of a write-up here on this game in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Arkansas State defeated Nevada on a 30-yard pass. Johnny Covington to Reginald Murphy. That was with no time remaining on the clock. A 0-0 hit. Arkansas State wins the game. Now, Nevada had scored to go ahead with 45 seconds. Arkansas got the ball at its own 26, and with 46 seconds left, they drove 74 yards. An amazing, amazing game.
Well, you can do that against the Nevada defense.
There's Calvillo looking for Thompson. Thompson takes a hit, pays the price. There's Mock and Manuel. Both were there. And that will bring up a 4th down play as we'll get a look at the punting unit. Micah Moore coming in.
Here's Calvillo dropping back, throwing again to the sideline. The catch, and then the tackle immediately by Samuel. He was right on top of the play. A linebacker out in coverage on the tight end.
Coley Banks back in for New Mexico State. The exciting punt returner. Averages 11 yards per return, and that's good for 16th in the country. There's the punt from Moore. A little bit of pressure there. But he does get the ball away. And it takes a Utah State bounce as it rolls all the way to the 18-yard line before Michael Coe drops on it.
Boy, Donald Beasley, who's one of their backup defensive backs, was about that close to blocking that punt that Noor just got off.
We've got 9 minutes, 43 seconds left here in the third quarter. We'll be back with more Aggie football right now that Nevada is out of the picture. 1st and 10, ball's on the 18-yard line. Missoula and Dublin in the backfield for New Mexico State to get to Dublin. If he got a yard, I'd be surprised. Probably lost about half of one. Pratt Lyons with a stop for Utah State.
Some of the New Mexico State people were telling the story about Cody Ledbetter's superstition. He carries around a bubblegum card of Bob Beamon, the great Olympic long jumper, and the last couple of games hasn't worn it under his wristband. It would appear to me he's got it on today.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to see if we can find that out. And I'm sure, knowing baseball cards now, if you put that underneath your wristband during a football game, that would hurt its mint condition, I'm certain. Not much of a resale value. Won't be able to put his kids through college with that card, but he sure would like to put the Aggies on top of Utah State today. He rolls out to his left and squeezes forward for a gain of about 3 yards on that play, knocked down by Pratt Lyons and Jermaine Younger.
Defending on the outside, number 21, Michael Coe, was taking the pitch man all the way. He was within distance to grab Ledbetter, but he's carrying out his assignment. Maybe we can see him. There he is in the picture beyond Ledbetter, number 21, who goes to the outside. Coe does, and so Ledbetter cuts upfield past the 20.
3rd down, 7 yards to go. Ball is on the 22-yard line of New Mexico State. That's Pazula in the backfield. This is the setback for New Mexico State. Ledbetter is looking for the pass. Fires up the middle and finds his tight end, Aaron Lang. Now, I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've seen him in action today. At least with the reception he had caught for nearly 400 yards before this day began. Younger and Gill on the stop for Utah State, but that is a 1st down for New Mexico State.
Well, not to the extent that Utah State does, but all year long Ledbetter is thrown to the tight end. As you mentioned, Lang has 30, now 31 catches. He's never caught a touchdown pass this year, though.
Transfer out of Lamar University. Played high school in Houston. 1st and 10. Ball's on the 31-yard line. The give to Dublin. By Damon Smith and David Gill of Utah State.
Here's Ledbetter in the handoff to Dublin. Guy there. And that slowed him up, and Gill and Scal came over to help.
Well, for a smaller guy, Dublin sure does have a lot of power. He's been able to muscle through those first hits and get an extra couple of yards all day long. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. And Ledbetter calls a timeout. Something was confusing him. Trying to take a gander at the game clock here. They decided to call a timeout. Think things over. We've got 7 minutes, 7 seconds left in this third quarter. As New Mexico State still holding on to a 14-6 lead over Utah State. We'll be back with more Aggie football right after this. We're starting to creep in on the south side of the field. New Mexico State facing second down, 6 yards to go. They are on their own 35-yard line. We've got just over 7 minutes left in this third quarter. Pazula, the single setback for New Mexico State. Ledbetter fakes to him. Considerable pressure there. Flushed out of the pocket. And then it was Haymore and Pratt Lyons in to stop Ledbetter. Now, Pratt Lyons, I got to tell you this. He is the stepbrother to big Oliver Miller of the Phoenix Suns. They are both very big guys. And, of course, Oliver Miller played his ball at Arkansas.
Here's the play fake. Mawala went flying by. You didn't see him in the picture, but he had a great shot at Ledbetter and couldn't get to him. Haymore and then Lyons finally bring him down for what I guess, if it's not a tackle for loss or a sack, it's a great play by the defense.
There's about a 1-yard loss on that play. Brings up 3rd and 8 for New Mexico State. Back, throws from the back of his feet there, and it is incomplete. Aaron Lang says he did make the catch, but everybody on the Utah State side said no. And luckily for Utah State, the boys in stripes agreed.
Well, it's hard to tell from there. I mean, he probably cupped it all right, but it hit the ground in between his arms. The official had no question that he didn't control the ball, and so they'll kick it away.
4th down, brings on the punting unit. Tony Jenkins back deep for Utah State.
Tony Jenkins is deep for Utah State.
Brad Zucker, you see his numbers on the day. This will be his 4th punt. Oh, and there's the flag.
Michael Coe hit him.
Doesn't matter what happens with this punt. It's an excellent punt, by the way. It goes all the way down to about the 9-yard line, but it will all be brought back as Michael Coe made contact with the punter.
He was close to the ball, but if you don't hit the ball, you cannot hit the punter. And that's the problem for Utah State.
Well, that will keep the New Mexico State drive alive and well.
We've seen games that were turned around by a play like this. Now, New Mexico State's holding the lead, and they're the one profiting from this in a 14-6 game.
Brings the ball all the way out to the 48-yard line. It's still on the New Mexico State side of the field, but it is a 1st down. We've got just over 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Not too many penalties. The fabric hasn't flown too frequently so far in this game.
Say that fast 3 times.
Yeah, just that's probably getting close to season lows for both of these schools. First and 10, ball's on the 48-yard line, 48-yard line. Ledbetter gives to Dublin. Dublin wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. A sea of white.
Carried by Troy Dublin.
Well, the guy that really made the play was Coe, although he may not get credit for the tackle, but he's totally stuffed the play, and he's probably not very happy with himself right now. Taking it out on somebody in a red jersey. Here we see Ledbetter giving it to Dublin, and Coe is right there. He stuffs that blocker and then gets help from Gill, and the play really went nowhere.
Loss of 1 on the play. Pazula and Dublin in the backfield. That's Kennedy at the bottom of your screen. The give to Pazula, and he's tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Pratt Lyons, excellent play there, great penetration.
To stop by Pat Lyons.
And that brings up a loss of another yard, about 1.5 yards on that play.
Jermaine Younger at the tail end of the play, slow getting up, seems to be favoring right leg. Here's the handoff. Pazula coming this way. That may have been Jermaine that was, oh, that was Lyons, as you said, that made the stop on it. Basically an arm tackle.
Pazula in the backfield. Ledbetter looking deep and overthrows the intended receiver. That's Hubert McGraw, number 85 for New Mexico State. David Smith on coverage brings up a 4th down. He was a good 5 yards away from the outstretched arms of McGraw. We'll get to see Chad Zecca again.
Now, we told you that Ledbetter didn't throw for a lot of yards in the first half, or real effectively. He hit the 3 passes for 97 yards. He's only 1 of 3 in the second half. They've got 106 yards passing for the game.
Tony
Jenkins back deep for Utah State. Zecca to punt for the 5th time today. And a nice booming punt. Jenkins calls for the fair catch, puts the knee down at the 17-yard line. Utah State will take over 1st and 10.
By Tony Jenkins. 1st and 10, Utah
Just
State.
over like about 4 minutes and 32 seconds left in this 3rd quarter.
This is the 100th game Utah State has played in the Big West Conference, previously known as the PCAA. The Aggies have lived against New Mexico State and Pacific in those games. They're 23-1 in league games against these two teams, 8-0 against this team. You'd think they'd look at this game as one of the biggest they've ever played, and it's shaping up that way right now.
That's true. That's true. Well, 1st and 10, there's the give to Greer. He's back in the game, and looks like he might not have gotten anything. Wade on the stop for New Mexico State. Yeah, as we mentioned before, Utah State owns, previously, at least historically speaking, New Mexico State.
Here's Profale taking the handoff from Anthony, and again, trying to cut back, but there's nowhere to go. The outside help was there in addition to the defenders where he intended to go.
Hit the 4-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down, 11 yards to go. Calvillo with the draw to Greer. Greer motors ahead, gets the 1st down yardage, gets all the way to about the 28-yard line. Should be good enough for the 1st down. LeBreton and Walton on the stop for New Mexico State.
Aggies are out past 150 yards of rushing after that run. Here's Calvillo on the draw to give to Greer, and he's got lots of room there. You see the great push by Tilsky and a nice block by Aubrey Thompson. That's the first down for Utah State the 2nd half.
You saw Greer motioning to the sidelines. He did not want to come out in that play. Angelovic came in, and now he's returning to the sidelines. 1st and 10. Ball's at the 28-yard line. Calvillo back and aiming deep. He's got McMahon. And McMahon turns around and makes the catch. An amazing catch all the way down to the 24-yard line of New Mexico State. David Varela with coverage, but McMahon turns around, spots the ball, and made the catch.
It's like everybody who's a Utah State fan has finally said, finally. Yeah.
That's true. This is the first really big play of this game. Another update here. I'll look at the replay here first.
Calvillo throwing long downfield. David Barella is there. We can't see him very well in the shadows, but that's McMahon making the catch down at the 24.
1st and 10. Fake to Greer. Calvillo aiming for the promised land. He's got Mike Lee. Touchdown, Utah State. Again, Barella on coverage, but Mike Lee was wide open in the end zone.
That's Lee's 5th touchdown catch of the year, and for the nation's 7th leading receiver, well, and for the entire offense, finally, it looks like they're on track. There's Calvillo with all day to throw the ball, and there's Lee catching it in stride into the end zone. Utah State touchdown.
Mike Lee parted the Red Sea as he found his way into the promised land there in the end zone as Utah State pulls to within 2 points now here in this 3rd quarter. And the extra point makes it a 1-point game as New Mexico State leads it 14-13.
The conversion is good by Nathan Morales. Score New Mexico State 14.
And
Utah State 13.
If we look now with a 1-point game, we've got basically 18 minutes left in this game. 3 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. And we're starting to near some records here for Calvillo.
Well, Anthony, I think needs something like 94 yards now for the for the top one season passing figure that is currently held by Bruce Snyder. And by now, Calvillo's gone over 3,000 yards passing for the season and less than 100 yards away from Snyder's record set in 1988.
Best of his last season total. He had, what, 2,400 yards, around that much for the 92 campaign. Here's another update in Las Vegas, Southwest Louisiana, 17, UNLV 14. We've got just under 2 minutes left in the first half. Here's the kickoff again. These dangerous return men that Utah State has been avoiding the entire game, as Micah Knorr with a soft kick. And taking it about the 20. Haymore took somebody out there. That was a nice hit. That was Odell Johnson returns the kick.
The stop by Terrence Gaines.
Corey Alexander with a stop for Utah State. Let's take a look at that again. Watch Haymore.
Number 17, he gets blocked right up into the air.
It's like a hurdle or something like that.
And then Terrence Gaines and Johnny Williams make the stop for him.
Something you might see in American Gladiators there. 2 minutes, 53 seconds left in the third quarter. New Mexico State has the ball again. They're at their own 26-yard line. You look at the scoring drive. Very nice space, acreage covered there by Utah State, 83 yards. 3 plays. First and 10 now. Ball's at the 27-yard line of New Mexico State. They give up the middle to Dublin. Dublin works his way ahead for a gain of about 6. That's Younger and Coe with a stop for Utah State.
Basically, the interior of the Utah State defensive line was blocked right out of that play, and that work. In fact, here's the handoff. Ledbetter to Dublin. He started up the middle and cuts to the outside and makes a nice game.
Second down, 2 yards to go. Aggie crowd starting to get into it a little bit. Cheer their New Mexico State team on. There's Dublin again. He works his way for some room and a first down as he gets across the 40-yard line all the way to the 43. Brought down by Younger finally. Another first down for New Mexico State.
You know, actually that time I thought Pratt Lyons did a good job knifing right through the pressure to where Dublin was. It's just that he didn't get there in time. Dublin got past Lyons. In fact, you saw him right there. There was a little bit of a blur before Younger finally got him. Lyons made a good play, but didn't make the tackle.
First and 10. Again, to get to Dublin. Gets about a yard on that play before he's met by a host of Aggies led by Balls and Gill.
Stop by Dave Ball.
Here's Ledbetter turning to Dublin again, knifing, and David Ball's 91 coming through the pressure, the block by Heath Hedge, number 64, to make the stop.
Second down, 9 yards to go. Pazula, the setback to New Mexico State. The throw, and it's complete to Lang. He gets to midfield, and that's where he is dropped. Gill and Younger in on the stop for Utah State.
Well, Lang had a linebacker with him in coverage, number 44, the redshirt freshman, David Gill. He started in this game in place of Gary Brown, and they made the most of it. I think that's the second, at least the second catch today for Lang.
You're right. They spotted that all the way to the 48-yard line. I think Lang could see that far from where he was tackled. 36 seconds left in the third quarter. Third down, 1 yard to go. Ledbetter keeps it himself and falls forward to the first down yardage. Scott Moala tripped him up. It does look like Ledbetter, and he does. That's a first down for New Mexico State.
Moala just simply comes right down the line of scrimmage and gets a hand on Ledbetter, who went sprinting by. We'll be able to see Moala, but we might see his hand. There you go, as Cole was over there just in case.
First and 10 for New Mexico State. Ball at the Utah State 46.
This will probably be the last play of the third quarter. First and 10. New Mexico State is in Utah State territory. Reverse play over to Pazula, who gets across the 40-yard line. And that's the end of the third quarter as New Mexico State now clinging to a 1-point lead after holding an 8-point lead before. We'll be back with the fourth and final quarter right after this. Following this play. Third down, 6 yards to go. Ball's on the 8-yard line. Ledbetter again passing. Nobody open, and he's going to try to do it himself, and he just won't get there. Michael Coe on the stop there. Brings up a fourth down play.
Well, Damon Smith and Haymore and Scow and even Tyrone Trimble had everybody covered, and Ledbetter had to run.
Well, this will bring on the field goal unit for New Mexico State. Bubba Cullen in to try his first field goal of the day. He is 8 for 11 on the year. This will be a 23-yard attempt. 1 for 2 on the season from that distance, and the kick is up and good, and New Mexico State adds their lead a bit. They jump out to a 17-13 lead. We've got 13 minutes, 16 seconds left in this game. We'll be back right after this.
After 3 quarters of play now, total offense, Utah State 298, New Mexico State 249. The edge on the statistics is no consolation right now.
4-point lead for New Mexico State. Profel Greer looking for some room and finds some. He's hit hard. A punishing blow at the end of that run, but he does get about 7 yards. Stowers and Mock there on the stop.
I thought the key play, the key block on the play was thrown by number 87, the tight end, Aubrey Thompson. I don't know if we'll be able to see it as he, right there. There's 87, Thompson cutting outside with a man, and Greer has an inside lane out to the 27.
3 yards to go. Again, they give to Greer. He's got the first down and is still running. And the ball is loose. The ball is loose. New Mexico State falls on it. And Cedric Walton recovers the fumble. Bo LeBreton with the hit. Walton is there, and New Mexico State takes over. They've got the ball in Aggie territory at the 42-yard line. Take a look at that
again. Yeah, there's Greer. It looks like he got hit by Mock or somebody knocking it out of his hand. Number 55 coming in to finish off the tackle as Greer was going down.
It's Mock creating the big fumble there. The Aggies of Utah State are not very happy about that play. 1st and 10. The give is to Dublin. Gets about 3 yards on the play.
Just checking the Utah State lineup, and the Aggies are defensively going with just about everybody that's gone the entire game. Paul Gustafson's played a lot in there with Trimble.
Greer was getting a talking to by one of the assistant coaches. Greer obviously upset after letting that ball pop loose out of his hands. 2nd down, 9 yards to go. Dublin in the backfield. And Ledbetter fakes to Dublin. Pratt Lyons is on him. And there's an interception. Damon Smith. Damon Smith plays the old turnover game as Utah State gets the last word there. Intended for David Osborne. Damon Smith just stepped up and snagged his 5th interception of the year.
Well, you described it perfectly when you said Lyons was in his face. He forced this earlier pass. He wanted to throw he threw this earlier than he really wanted to, and it enabled Damon to grab it. And this is a big play for the Aggies after what looked to be a real critical fumble by Utah State. The only thing that could turn things around right now for USU is exactly what's happened here. They'd like to have it in better position, however.
The Aggies have the ball on their own 8-yard line. 1st and 10. Give to Greer again up the middle, and he's going to work his way for another gain. Wrestled down at the 20-yard line. A gain of about 12 yards on that play. Donald Stowers Stop for New Mexico State.
And again, we've got to remind anybody that's just tuning in now, Utah State is playing for a bowl bid. There's Greer on the run. Arkansas State earlier today defeated Nevada in a surprising development in Jonesboro, Arkansas at the gun at that game. And Nevada has now got 2 losses, and now Utah State is playing for the bid to the December 17th bowl game. There's the score in Provo. Greer has 110 yards rushing now.
Calvillo looking deep, finding Mike Lee, and Mike Lee couldn't hold on to the ball. About the 45-yard line. It got both hands on it, but was unable to hold on to it. Cedric Walton there with coverage for New Mexico State. Both teams here are playing for the Las Vegas Bowl at this point.
Just off of Lee's fingertips way downfield, obviously would have been a big play had it worked. Yeah, this is the league championship game, isn't it?
Here's our playoff that we've always been wanting. Nice when it comes out, work out like this. Second down, 10 yards to go. Ball still on the 20. Calvillo back. Flips over to Thompson. Thompson gets about a 4-yard gain. Dropped by Tony Gray. Brings up third down, 6 yards to go. Thompson walking a little gingerly back to the huddle.
Calvillo throwing actually to his short man in this case, and that's Thompson trying to get away there.
Greg Thompson comes into the game. Now Greg Thompson leaves, comes back out of the game. He was coming in to replace Aubrey.
Big play, Carlton.
Third down, 6 yards to go. Greer in motion to the bottom of your screen. Calvillo looking over the middle and finds Mike Lee, and then Mike Lee is unable to come up with the ball.
It was tripped, I think, at the line of scrimmage. In fact, that's one of the officials was signaling, and Lee almost still got it after all that, but it's incomplete.
Brings up fourth down. We've got 10 minutes, 46 seconds left in this game. Micah Knorr will come in to punt, and Poley Banks. Just in case you're wondering, it's spelled Poley, P-O-L-E-E. That's short for Napoleon. Poley Banks back deep. There's Micah Knorr.
They've got 10 men on the line of scrimmage. New Mexico State does.
Nice punt. And Poley Banks signals for the fair catch at the 30-yard line, gets about to the 29. His foot finally hit the ground. 10 minutes, 37 seconds left in this game. Utah State down by 4. We'll be back with the rest of the game right after this.
How do you order a Miller Genuine Draft Light, the cold-filtered light with smooth draft taste, in a pool hall? MGD Light? Say MGD Light and say no more. How do you order a Miller Genuine Draft Light, the cold-filtered light with smooth draft taste, at a singles bar?
Give me an MGD Light. Anyone have change for 20?
We'll let him in here. Say MGD Light and say no more.
Right now, save up to $3,000 on selected new all-wheel drive Subaru Legacy L models during the Subaru Holiday Price Break. Now you can enjoy the superior handling, reliability, and safety of an all-wheel drive Legacy and save up to $3,000. So why settle for a front-wheel drive Altima, Accord, or Camry? Especially when the Subaru Legacy is America's best-selling all-wheel drive car. Make the Subaru Holiday Price Break your lucky break.
Back for the fourth quarter here. We've got just over 10.5 minutes left in the game. Charleston Wing here along with Craig Kissick bringing you the action. Another game of semi-importance here. Western Michigan and Bowling Green tied at 14 now. That solidifies it for Ball State to be the opposition in the Las Vegas Bowl for one of these two teams, possibly. Pratt Lyons in on the stop of Troy Dublin there. Brings up second down and 10. There was no gain on that play.
Incidentally, we've been notified Utah State's football team buses will roll into Romney Stadium at about 9:45 tonight. We don't know if they'll have a league championship in tow or not right now.
Would be their first since, let's see, was it 79? Second down and 10. Ledbetter back. Throws over the middle, intended for Lang. Kind of went went through him there. Jermaine Younger was very close to Lang.
Really not a time problem for Utah State in this game as long as they, again, the defense is being called on to do this. Remember earlier, Greer's fumble, but Damon Smith intercepted it right back. Now the defense has to make another stop.
Third down, we've got 9 yards to go. Ball's on the 30-yard line. New Mexico State now in the position of trying to keep the drive alive, eat some time off the clock, find the end zone once or twice more, and there's number 99, Scott Moala, with a big, big sack on third down. That is his 4th sack of the season. And that's a loss of about 7 yards on the play.
Here we'll see Ledbetter really with not a lot of time to set up. Here comes Moala in from that side, jumped all over him. Kaplan was there to pressure as well. Scott Moala, a senior for Utah State.
We've got James Dye back in the game. He's going to receive the punt from Chad Zecca here. Not much pressure this time. They didn't want to repeat the penalty. Dye takes the ball at the 36-yard line and motors upfield. It is hit hard, but gets to the 49-yard line. He hung onto the ball, and that's amazing enough. Roscoe Woods evidently there first for New Mexico State. Dye pumping himself up on the way to the sideline. Punishing blow at the end. Could put that on our greatest hits tape.
Well, the Aggies came into the game wanting to have some kind of destiny to control, and now they do right now.
We've got just over 9 minutes left in this game. About a 2-yard gain for Profile Greer. Tony Gray on the stop for New Mexico State.
Okay, Aggies go over 200 yards on the ground with that one, and that's been consistent the second half of the year. Most of it with Greer, who has now run for 112 yards in this game.
Second down, 9 yards to go. The ball is just on the other side, just into New Mexico State territory at the 50-yard line. Lee, Jenkins, and McMahon all going to the left side, to the bottom of your screen. There they are. And Jenkins turns around, makes the catch at the 40-yard line, and motors over to the 38-yard line. First down, Utah State.
He lost his helmet in the process. Here you see Tony being wrapped up pretty tough by New Mexico State, but the Aggies are on the march. There's the pass, Calvillo to the sideline, and in the shadows, Tony Jenkins makes it, and 3 New Mexico State defenders are right on top of him.
First and 10, ball's on the 38-yard line. Greer in motion to the bottom of your screen. Calvillo flushed out of the pocket, being chased and gets away. Ends up with about a 1 or a 2-yard loss. That was LeBreton providing hot pursuit. That kept Calvillo from being able to find an open receiver.
Updating Anthony's totals now. He is 12 of 25, or 151 yards. So isn't it amazing, in what is obviously a below-average game for him and for the Aggie offense, really they're in a position to win a league title right here.
7 minutes, 58 seconds left in the game. Aggies down by 4 to the New Mexico State Aggies. Calvillo gives to Greer. Greer's got a little bit of room. Working his way across the 30. He's got one man to beat. Is unable to do so. Gets to the 11-yard line. Chris Rouser drags him down from behind. Big gain for Profile Greer.
At the front end of that run, Tony Gray, number 44, was the guy that had the shot at him, and Profile simply ran away from him. Watch him now. Here's the handoff on the draw. He goes to the left. There's 44 with a shot, but Profile runs right away from him. Then he runs away from another guy and heads down the sideline, and Utah State's in awfully good shape right now.
Kendrick Huey in the game. We've got massive substitutions for Utah State. Kevin Alexander, Sean Turner also in the game. That's Mike Lee, nearest to the line. And Huey, nothing doing at the line of scrimmage. LeBreton and Mock.
Mock is number 55. He's the senior. He's the best linebacker they've got. He was tackling the ball and almost got it away. I mean, he's the smart one on the field and knows what possession, what is possession, 9/10 of the law. It would have been a big one right here. Here's the handoff to Greer. Kendrick trying to find or not Greer, but Kendrick Huey, I'm sorry. And again, there's Mock at the bottom. He's the one on the bottom of the pile trying to pull that ball out.
Lost about half a yard on that play. Second down. Calvillo fakes the run, throws it to Aubrey Thompson. Touchdown, Utah State. Aubrey Thompson motors his way across the goal line using that size that he has and scores the touchdown, his 5th of this season, and a very, very big touchdown for Utah State as their Las Vegas Bowl hopes are still alive and well. 6 minutes, 49 seconds left in this game. Utah State now up by 2. Let's look at that play again.
Here's the toss to Aubrey, and then after the what looked like a tackle, he just dives for the end zone. Seemed like he wanted that pretty badly.
Aubrey used all 230 pounds of his weight to push himself across the line. The kick is good, and Utah State now holds a 3-point lead with just under 7 minutes left in this game. We'll be back in a moment right after this.
We'll have a pop-up kickoff coming here from Nor, and I want to talk about what happens if, say, New Mexico State goes down and kicks a field goal and ties this game. Here's the pop-up kickoff.
And there, an infield fly rule in effect. And the ball is up at about the 33-yard line. Parrish Foster, who normally averages 28 yards, got about 2 or 3.
Now, 6 minutes and 45 seconds, worlds of things can happen in a football game in that time. But if this game ended in a tie, and that would occur because Nevada's already lost to Arkansas to create the situation. Southwest Louisiana loses to either UNLV or Louisiana Tech or both. That's yet to be determined. If these two teams tie today and tie for the title, you know how they decide the champion and the league representative for the bowl game?
I do not know.
They toss a coin.
Oh, my goodness.
Which seems almost sad.
Well, there is a big loss. Brian Pazula, and he's hit. After the knee went down, there was a late hit. Evidently Gustafson in there.
Actually, Paul was the guy there first, and I think they're gonna flag number 99 Moala. I don't think Scott thought the play was over. Now watch this. As Pazula's down, Gustafson takes him down. His knee is just barely hit, and then Moala comes in from behind, and they throw the flag on that.
Love it. Well, that is a big penalty. A big penalty for New Mexico State. See the official with the call there. Takes the ball all the way to the 44-yard line. A big game. 6 minutes, 30 seconds left in this game, and the clock is ticking. Pazula and Dublin in the backfield. Dublin gets the call and gets the ball and takes it across the 50-yard line to the 49 of Utah State. Brought down by Taplin and Scow.
Well, the defense has made some key plays today, and they're going to have to come up with it again for Utah State. Remember Damon Smith's interception earlier this quarter, and Moala's sack. There's the scoring drive, by the way. But they need some more from the defense.
3 yards to go. Ball's on the 49-yard line. They give to Pazula. He was hit behind the line of scrimmage, but falls forward to the first down. 44 on the ball's on the 44-yard line. Gustafson.
Here's Pazula starting to the right. Got by David Balls and then spins off another Aggie into the hands of Danielle Taplin, where he's finally stopped.
1st and 10. Clock is still ticking. Now we're at the 5:36 mark left in this game. Pazula, Dublin in the backfield. The give to Dublin. Utah State doing a great job of stringing that play along. Loses about a yard or so. Jermaine Younger in hot pursuit of Troy Dublin.
Stop by Jermaine Younger.
That's a loss of 2 or 3 yards. That's the kind of thing the Aggie defense has been looking for here.
From the 46.
There's Dublin leaving the game. Lucius Davis came in to replace him. will probably leave Pazula as the single setback, and it does. Davis and Osborne on the bottom of your screen. Second down, 12 yards to go. Ledbetter fires up the middle, almost intercepted. That was David Gill right there. He had it right where he wanted it, but might have been thinking about the celebration in the end zone afterwards. It was intended for Aaron Lang.
Might have been thinking about a week in Las Vegas is what he was thinking of. Here's the pass by Ledbetter. David is in perfect position and can't catch it.
3rd and 12 now. Kennedy at the top of your screen. Davis and Osborne at the bottom of your screen. That's Pazula in the backfield. Ledbetter looks and fires up the middle. That time it is intercepted. Gill redeems himself, takes the ball all the way to the 44-yard line of New Mexico State. David Gill amazingly makes up for dropping the ball. How many times do you get to have that happen twice in a row?
Hardly ever. It's an oddity, and it may take Utah State to a bowl game. Let's see what happens in the final 4.5 minutes of this game. And that's a huge play by the Aggie defense, exactly what they needed. And the offense gets the ball in New Mexico State territory, and there's a New Mexico State player down.
That's Aaron Lang, the tight end. Mark this play down at the 4:36 mark. Big interception by David Gill. We'll be back in a moment right after this. Let's see if we can find out what happened to him. But the big news right now, 4 minutes 36 seconds left in this game. Calvillo and company are at the 44-yard line of New Mexico State. There's ball up the middle to Kendrick Huey. He gets across the 40. Wall and Melendez with a stop for New Mexico State. But the big interception has made a big difference in the atmosphere of this game.
Well, I think of the entire second half defensive effort as you look back on it now, and most recently with Damon Smith's interception, Wawala making a huge sack that stopped another drive, and then Gill getting a second chance interception. New Mexico State hasn't done much offensively in the second half. Certainly passing the ball, that's been next to nothing.
We are now under the 4-minute mark left in this game. Calvillo back to pass. He's looking along the sidelines and overthrows the intended receiver. That was Mike Lee. It looked like he was looking for Cody McMahon to break open, but was unable to do so, so went ahead and just kind of threw it out of the way on the flag pattern.
Now, you've really got to stay true to the type of offense you are. I understand that, but that stops the clock. That pass does with 3:51 left. And I don't know that you'd describe Utah State as a running team. There's Calvillo throwing the ball, going for the maybe the killer touchdown pass, and it didn't happen there. The Aggies do want to keep the clock running. They want to run that thing out. They want to get first downs.
The hometown crowd here are making their choice known. Or is making their choice known. It's 3rd down, 5 yards to go. Profel Greer in the backfield. Calvillo looking, gunning. He's got a man open. Cody McMahon is trying to separate himself from the defender. Was unable to get to the ball, however. LeBret had fallen about, well, the coverage had fallen about 4 yards behind where McMahon was.
It was Bo LeBreton who came in and absolutely flattened Calvillo. Anthony could see it coming. There he's hit as he throws, and he put a little more air into that than he wanted to. I'll tell you, Cody was free. It was open. It was there, but the pass was too big.
And so now is a big punt. Nathan Moriali now in the punt for Utah State. Coley Bank standing at his own 10-yard line. 3 minutes, 44 seconds left in this game.
You don't want the ball in his hands at all. That was Moriali, right?
Calls for the fair catch, and if Utah State can get there, they down it inside the 1-yard line. A huge play. Number 49, Johnny Williams there, has now put New Mexico State in the position of having to drive 99.5 yards with 3 minutes, 34 seconds left in this game. New Mexico State down by 3.
Well, that's the biggest punt of Moriali's life. I mean, he has shared the punting this year with Knorr. That couldn't have landed at a better spot, and Johnny Williams right there to cover. And if New Mexico State goes down and scores now, I guess they deserve it, because they've got the entire world to go and 3.5 minutes to do it.
I was watching Moriali practice before the game started. And he was trying to get those 3 hoppers inside the 10-yard line. Was able to do so. Utah State able to stop Dublin. It's like a gain of maybe one. Balls and Gill on the stop for Utah State.
There was just an instant there where I thought maybe Dublin might not get out of the end zone. He popped into the front of the middle of the line and then finally made a yard or two.
Wouldn't that be a big play? Because then that would take New Mexico State out of a field goal opportunity to tie this. And then go to that hotly contested coin toss. We'll televise that for you live. 3 minutes, 2 seconds left in this game and counting. Ledbetter deep in his own end zone, tosses out to Pazula, who's met about the 6-yard line and tackled.
Ephraim Haymore was the man that wrapped up Pazula on that play.
Looking through the shadows, Ledbetter.
There's the catch, and Ephraim only gave him a step, and Michael Cole was there anyway.
Ledbetter squeezed out of the pocket, tries to get to the first down marker. I don't know if he got there. They are marking that he did. Ledbetter a little slow getting up. There's that knee possibly as he limps back to the huddle, and it is a first down. First down with 2 minutes, 17 seconds left in this game. The ball is on the what looks to be the 11-yard line.
Ledbetter knocked down by Haymore with Gill helping, and coming on strong was Younger.
Pazula, the setback for New Mexico State. Ledbetter firing deep, and the ball drops harmlessly to the ground, as it looks like. Is that Damon Smith that is grabbing his knee? It is.
Damon Smith hurt. Travis Gow was down there too.
Osborne and Davis were both the receivers that were in the area. But Damon leapt up to try to grab the ball and at least knock it away. Now he has dropped back to the ground. Take a look at that play again.
Going deep. Scow trailing. The two receivers come right together there, and Smith on top of the pile knocks it away, and then apparently landed.
Looked like that left ankle.
Right.
2 minutes left in this ball game. Damon Smith being helped off the field. Damon has been very integral in this game and also in the Aggie secondary throughout the course of this season. Second down, 10 yards to go. 2 minutes remain in this Big West Championship game. Pazula, the setback for New Mexico State. Kennedy at the top of your screen. And aims for Pazula, and Pazula stops about 2 yards shy of the first down. He gets to the 20-yard line. Brought down by Corey Alexander.
With that pass, New Mexico State has only thrown for 31 yards, I think, in the entire second half. Another testament to what Utah State's done defensively the second half of this game.
Third down, 2 yards to go. Ledbetter back, flushed out of the pocket. Moala in on him, and he throws it out of bounds. Was unable to get the ball to any kind of a receiver because of Moala's pressure, and that brings up a fourth down.
I'll tell you, Carlton, the defense is making the plays in this second half for Utah State, and the offense has contributed enough to, looks like it could be a win. There's the pressure from Moala on that play again.
Got Moala. Fourth down, 2 yards to go. New Mexico State 5 of 8 on the season on fourth down, and this is the biggest one of the New Mexico State season, indeed, all the way back to 1978. And number 83, David Osborne, makes the catch. First down, New Mexico State. That will stop the clock while they move the chains. We've got 1 minute, 24 seconds left. Let's look at that play again. Scow and Haymore in on the stop. And there's a timeout on the play, or a timeout now. New Mexico State wants to talk about what they want to do to try to drive the last 65 yards of this field.
There's Ledbetter's throw again, and the catch. He was surrounded, but still enough yardage to keep the drive alive with about a minute and a half to go.
Nice accuracy for Ledbetter on that play. The ball is sitting just on the other side of the 35-yard line, or the 25-yard line.
We ought to talk a little bit about, again, all the eventualities. I guess we really don't have time, but if New Mexico State gets close enough to kick a field goal and they do tie, and their tie could not be broken against common opponents because both would have wins over Pacific and UNLV, the non-conference point system would have to be utilized, and since both teams would have 2 non-conference points with the win over UTEP for New Mexico State and the Aggies win over BYU, then they toss a coin to determine it.
I want to remind you also, coming up on December 3rd, IHL hockey returns to KJAS 14 with the Salt Lake Golden Eagles taking on the Kansas City Blades. Join John Allers for all the action beginning at 6:30 right here on KJAS. We've got 1 minute, 24 seconds left in this game. First down, 10 yards to go. Ball's on the 25-yard line. Ledbetter back. Flush out of the pocket. He's got a lot of room if he wants to run it, but he doesn't. And the ball is incomplete. Dropped at the 50-yard line. Ryan Suttles, the intended receiver. He had about 10 to 15 yards if he wanted to take it running.
Here he is now, and he almost got to the line of scrimmage. Didn't step over it. That 25 right in front of him is the line of scrimmage, but he threw before that and threw low and couldn't get it to his tight end.
Here comes Lucius Davis in the game, as well as Tyrone Brewer in for New Mexico State. Kennedy and Osborne up at the top of your screen. Second down, 10 yards to go. Ledbetter fakes. Tosses upfield and nearly intercepted again by Utah State. He was going for number 13, Tyrone Brewer, and there's Damon Smith. That ankle didn't stop him that time. He was able to step in front of that ball and knock it down.
Yeah, there's Damon, who made the interception after Cofield Greer fumbled the ball earlier that really, I think, turned this game around. There's the toss, and there's Damon diving and knocking it away from Davis.
3rd and 10. 1 minute, 11 seconds remaining. Las Vegas full berth hanging in the balance. Pazula in the backfield for New Mexico State. And blindsided, number 92, Pratt Lyons, laid out Ledbetter, and Ledbetter is still down.
The Aggies had a little bit of a defensive twist along the line going, where Pratt took a step to the outside and looped around and came from behind, and Ledbetter didn't see the huge Aggie freshman coming from his blind side. He got hit by 278 pounds. Watch this. Ledbetter set to throw. There's Lyons. He got the ball off, but he paid for it.
And I bet Lyons, when he saw that he was coming in unopposed, I bet his eyes were wide open. Take a look at Ledbetter's numbers on the day.
Boy, he's really done hardly anything in the second half. 134 yards for the game. 97 of those he had by halftime.
Ledbetter calling for a timeout there. 1 minute, 6 seconds left in this game. Ledbetter's kind of had an up and down season all year long. He threw for over 400 yards against UNLV. Last week it was just about 120 or 130 or so against Nevada. Again,
Carlton, with all the reminders you've got on your programming, I'll remind the Aggie fans that the Utah State buses will arrive at the stadium at 9:45. It looks to me like it could be a championship celebration. They're going to have the stadium lights on and the whole 9 yards. And this will probably be by the time the Aggie volleyball match is over in the Spectrum. The Aggies playing their final volleyball match of the year tonight with Marie Motil and Lisa Schwartz and Debbie Neal playing for the final time. And wanted to say hello also to the New Mexico State Roadrunners. Their people here asked us to say hi. They're playing Utah State tonight in that volleyball match.
A little bit of controversy looked like on the sidelines there. Ledbetter, the officials at first were trying to make him sit out for a play. If they had stopped the clock because of Ledbetter getting up slowly, he does have to sit out for one play. Want to remind you, college basketball on KJAS 14 gets underway next Saturday at 1 o'clock with the KJAS College Basketball Preview. And then at 1:45, we join CBS Sports for live coverage of preseason hoops with Louisville versus Kentucky, all coming up next Saturday on KJAS 14. 1 minute, 6 seconds left in this game. 4th down, 10 yards to go for New Mexico State. They've got the ball on their own 25-yard line. Pratt Lyons all over Ledbetter. Lyons giving big chase, and the ball drops at the 43-yard line, and Utah State begins the celebration with 57 seconds remaining. Utah State will take over at the New Mexico State 25-yard line. And there are some happy faces on the Utah State sideline. The defense made some big plays to make that happen. You see Jermaine Younger down there.
Again now, there are 57 seconds left, and I don't want to interrupt the party for too long, but there are some items of business to take care of. You got to run that clock out, and then it's official, and Utah State will be the league champs. Calvillo will put his knee down on this play, obviously.
And he does so. Immediately turns back to the referee. The last time we saw this kind of play was BYU. And I think we got plenty of satellite time today.
Michael Cole there celebrating. Remember, Michael made the block on that punt, or it actually didn't block the punt. He roughed the kicker that could have made him a nominee for the GOAT. It didn't hurt him, and he's come back, in fact, and made some great plays later. The defense has in general. That's been the story, I think, in the second half and the resultant win.
There's a little anxious New Mexico State Aggie. That was Gilbert. There's a Gatorade bucket making its way towards Charlie Weatherby. He can't hear us for the warning. Set about the 35-yard line on the sideline.
Who said we wanted to warn it?
Yeah.
How often do you get to do this at Utah State?
Yeah, the last that happened at BYU, or when BYU played in Logan.
Next item of business now for the Aggies is a basketball game on Monday night. The Croatians are coming to the Spectrum at 7 o'clock. Larry Eustachi's first team at Utah State will take the field. There's Charlie.
Two players had that Gatorade bucket about 2 feet from Weatherby's head a second ago, and he turned, and so they backed off at the last moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, and there's the Gatorade on Weatherby. Utah State University, the Big West champions, Las Vegas Bowl. Here they come.
Well, Utah State's 100th league game in the Big West is certainly one of the biggest they've ever played, with a victory in the conference championship.
Utah State came into this season as the #1 ranked team in the Big West, and those writers are right. You see Weatherby talking to John Lewandowski there, the sports information director at Utah State. Weatherby very happy. And that's a final from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Utah State 20, New Mexico State 17. Back with some final comments right after this. And a great win for Utah State as they pull off the 3-point victory over New Mexico State to take the Big West title. Nevada falling to Arkansas State. And then in an earlier game in the Mid-American Conference, it does appear that they will meet Ball State in the Las Vegas Bowl.
You know, you look back now, the Aggies beat BYU in a huge emotional win and have come on to win 3 games after that in what honestly you would say were somewhat below average for the Utah State team, and certainly for the offense. And still they've won them, scoring 24, 24, and 20 points. But the defense in today's game, I thought, was the big difference, particularly in the second half. And the Aggies are going to a bowl game for the first time since the early 60s.
And a 6-5 season. Weatherby brings a winning season to Logan, Utah, first time in well over a decade.
And again, a reminder, Carlton, for you Aggie fans who want to greet the team, they will arrive at Romney Stadium this evening at 9:45. The lights will be turned on in the stadium. I assume there's going to be quite a celebration tonight in Logan.
And a just deserved win for Utah State University, pulling off the incredible win here in Las Cruces. There's a look at our stats, the final stats there. You see the rushing yardage for Utah State, 230. That's got to be very pleasing to the coach's eye. And then the passing, 160, well short of the average, but effective enough for the win. They'll take the W no matter how ugly the stats look.
And look how the playing time of possession evened up by the end of the game.
All righty, well, we will take a break. We'll be back in a moment right after this.
The American luxury car for the ninth.
It's been a wild ride for the Aggies this year. At one point in the season, they were 1-5, and now they have closed off the season, winning each of their last 5 games, 6-5, a winning season, a Big West champion, a bowl berth. It's been quite an exciting ride.
Kind of a circuitous route to the championship, but they did it.
All righty, Craig, it's been a blast working with you. Great coverage here on these games. We will see you in basketball season. Don't forget our college basketball preview. For Craig Hislop, I'm Carlton Wing. Thanks for joining us today.
opportunity, and he couldn't get it away from the Swede. And Edberg stays in there on his serve. He's still down to break point. Look at that good footwork. Those feet never stop on the balls of the feet. And after all that, it's still 30-40. Sampras standing a little bit to his left, wants it a forehand. You know, if I were Sampras' coach, I would try to get him to get in much more to that net than he does. Why let the other guy come in